flash. The time has flown.
Well, it is time to see a little bit more peace and then see what Direwolves have been cooking up in the kitchen as well as we do head towards match 3 of the day here at the DoorDash LCO. So far, 2 extremely exciting games. Unfortunately, the second one had a bit of a tech pause, so hopefully we won't have any more of that going into game 3. And it's going to be peace. So I just want to see a little more from them, you know, what they can maybe bring to the table. Is it going to be the same old thing that has been working for them, or are they going to change things up? Will they take that risk against Direwolves? So many questions that need to be answered, and I've got Juves and Skimmy here to do all the answering for me. So, Juves, please answer all 7 questions I just asked.
So, yes, so all 7.
Yep.
But no, so seriously, I do want to see this game as more of a test for Direwolves. You know, that team that we've, you know, like a broken record, said that we see them kind of as that, you know, that next best. We put them in that 3rd, you know, slot position, and we really do want to see how they match up against, you know, what at the moment is the top dogs. It's peace. It's very early, but that's what they are, right? You know, Claire had a shaky start to the game against Gravitas, but really came up big for his team. Only getting better as the weeks went on in Split 1. Shock, I mean, no introduction, the real staple point of this team. And then kind of the question mark, right? The Kelrock and the Guncrab dynamic duo in the bot lane. But I think Guncrab has done himself justice in playing in that support position. But, you know, this is a team that I'm excited about. I like to watch them week upon week because there's always that chance that, you know, they really do live up to the potential that this team has.
Yeah, from all things I've seen as well, especially in regards to Shock, I think I've seen his Zoe being the best Zoe I've seen in the LCO so far. So yeah. I really hope we get to see a little bit more of that this split, because we got to see a bit towards the end of last split, and I was very impressed by that. I guess we'll see once we do tend towards the draft if that will happen or not. Now let's have a quick chat about Peace and Skimmy. Tell me why you know him, tell me why you love him, and tell me why Babip has been the key to the puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, what a welcome introduction, right, back to your home country in the league and showcasing, you know, what you've learned from overseas, right? You played with some of the big dogs, and now you're looking to try and smurf when you come back home and say, you know what, I went to Worlds of Legacy a year prior, but I've only improved from that point onwards, right? So, big level up for them, obviously. It's going to feel really good for them to win the way that they did up against Pensnet as well, right? So, no doubt they're on that high. Appy continues to be just that rock in the top that, you know, mirrors that of Biopanther in terms of consistency, champion pool, and just outright finesse. Halo continues to showcase that, hey, you know, you can't count me out because I've still got a bit of style and swagger about me. But I just think it continues to be the Violet show. And it seems a little bit redundant and almost rude to say that it's a team built around him. But, you know, week 1, he's already once again got himself all the accolades of best farm, most kills, and all the rest of it. So he's showcasing that, you know, I am wanting to hit the limelight, and if it isn't a case of us going overseas, then he wants the rest of the world to notice him.
I just need to point out that Halo has been probably one of the best players on the player camps, at least giving us the reactions we want and maybe reactions we don't want, but even so, it takes a lot of confidence to do that. Now, someone else that has 2 player cams that they're going to talk to is Nat, so she's down on the sidelines. Let's bring her back into the conversation. And Nat, who do you have for us here for the pregame?
Hopefully there are some players behind those player cams as well, but I'll be talking to Aladoric and Guncrab, the 2 supports facing off against each other in this matchup. Aladoric, I want to ask, how does it feel coming into this matchup knowing that you'll be facing Guncrab in the bottom lane, but he'll be playing support instead?
It's a pretty interesting dynamic because I played on a team with Guncrab in 2019. He was my 80 carry, so I think that'd be pretty fun playing against him.
Guncrab, for you, you know, how has scrims and show games been going as support? Do you feel that you've been showing up?
Yeah, I think actually our whole team, not just our bottom lane, has been going quite well in scrims, and you know, I think it'll be a fun match to test ourselves against Peace, especially their bottom lane, because I guess they're kind of regarded as the best or one of the best bottom lanes in the league. Yeah. I'm actually really confident.
Who's going to be the... That's awesome to hear. Who do you think is going to have to be the biggest focus for you guys to try and get the win tonight?
Probably
that
Halo
for you,
to get his awesome reactions on camera.
I like it. You're just doing it for the content now. And Aladoric, I want to know, how is the atmosphere with the team over the weekend after getting that win from PGG? Did you guys focus on much scrims and VOD reviews and things like that?
Yeah, we scrimmed a bit. We had Saturday off, so it was like a break day. But on Sunday we scrimmed and we watched a few of your LCK games.
How is this BAPIB been settling in for you guys? Like, has it changed much of the team dynamic at all, or do you think he's slotted in quite easily?
I think it's good. I think we're much more of a well-rounded team now. I feel like we were really one-dimensional before, but it's helped a lot now that he's playing with us.
It's definitely shown in the few games that we have seen you already in. And the last question I'm going to ask both of you, because I've been asking it a lot tonight, is how long do you think this game is going to go for? If you want to say first, Aladoric.
I'll give it 30 minutes.
And Gunkrab, do you think longer or shorter than 30 minutes?
I'm gonna say shorter, probably around 23 minutes. We're either gonna get stomped or they're gonna get stomped.
I like it. I'm looking forward to the game. Thank you both so much for joining me, and good luck.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, these boots were made
Okay.
for stomping, it seems. So hopefully we get to see a stomp, something a little bit crazy, going one way or the other. I want to see what's going to go down in that bot lane as well. That's going to be where I'm watching. Hopefully the observers are going to be looking there, because that's where I want to be watching. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the predictions and what we think is going to happen here in game number 3 of the day. Again, looks like we're all aligned in terms of the first half of the talent. And if we have a quick look at the second half as well, I'll be surprised if anyone's gone for Direwolves. Okay, so everyone's gone for Peace here, and we're all just picking the favorites again. So we're being boring. I need to change this. I feel like I just need to tank my predictions and at least, give some hope to the people, give some hope to the underdogs, because at the moment, we're giving no hope to anyone with our predictions other than the favorites, which is understandable.
I think, when you bring in Kalrock, right, who we know is a fantastic AD carry, played on the Dire Cubs the year gone by, you're putting a lot of pressure on him to show up against arguably the two best teams in the region right now, right? So it's like, hey, Cupcake's not available at the moment. This is, slot you in, and oh, by the way, you're versing some of the best teams, right? So if anything, I mean, this could be, where players build their careers from, and he just absolutely smurfs, and suddenly they're having questions behind closed doors about, oh, well, what do we actually do now? What is our, our best starting 5? As for it itself, I think,
that's what I wanted to do. Am I allowed?
I got it in the time. Good. I got 50% off my DoorDash now. Sorry. Anyway, Skimmy, continue. That was very rude of me.
Yeah, look, I think that's just my talking point, right? Like, Kalrock, a lot of pressure on his shoulders, obviously impress and perform against the region's best. But just, Cupcake offers so much, right? Leadership role, done so much, knows the ins and outs of pretty much the history of this region, right? So it's always a tough order to go up against some of the best in the region when you feel like, quote unquote, on paper, that you're hindered in some form or way.
Yeah, I think even though none of us did tip Direwolves here, like their past 3 games, the knowledge that they get from it is insane, especially with Kalrock. He went up against PGG last week, and now he's going up against PGG today. Like, no matter win or lose for them, like, the valuable, information that he gets from this is just going to be able to give him, a pretty fast track in his sort of career.
Well, let's fast track this one straight to the game. We are a little bit behind schedule, so let's see if we can catch it up. Peace and Direwolves coming up right now.
Let's find out what happens in Game 3 here, Juves, as Direwolves will be taking on Peace. Both of these teams have been a bit of a back-to-back history where you look at, the playoffs, for instance, there was a tiebreaker. Direwolves play that game. They absolutely crush Peace in that instance. Then there's a lot of praise and thinking maybe Direwolves run the gauntlet. Maybe there is that redemption arc going into a top seeding, right? But they bow out quite early on as well into that playoffs and lost a lot of their prowess that they were steadily working across those 6 weeks of regular split. Yeah,
and I think it's hard to even make comparisons now, especially with the two big changes, right? Gunkrab being the support, BAPIB being the jungler for Peace. So they're almost like 2 completely different teams this week. Now, the thing I want to touch on draft is that the center being banned away from Peace really makes it a traditional and standard 2v2 now, right? If you opt in for letting Gunkrab get his hands on that center, you get him a comfort support that's going to be, the center, like a traditional marksman. But then you're also going to let Kalrock play something that's a little more comfortable too. But now you're really just saying to Gunkrab, hey man, you really need to lock in a support now. There's no other way to get around it. And you force them into the 2v2 they probably don't want to be in.
So we have, because you talk about some of the key bans that have been taken away. As you already mentioned, Nocturne obviously another one as well, where Claire and Shaka both played it, whereas Appy has too. So a bit of a preference on the sort of turn the lights out, find a kill within that small passage of play. But Direwolves have got against the grain here and said, you know, forget about the Ezreal first pick or, you know, the locking in of a really strong support. They're just going to go for a bit of a Claire special here with the Akali.
Yeah, Akali, and it's a flex, right? It's a flex in the sense that if Claire's your best Akali player, Shock can just go top lane with a matchup. And you can just swap the players. Like, they're probably both comfortable in doing so. Claire would be the most comfortable, I'd argue, in mid lane still.
Yep.
However, you know, we'll see where this one plays out. Ezreal not being picked up was, I think, partially due to the fact that the Peace bot lane will be able to punish it. They'll pick the Jinx, they'll pick Kog'Maw, they'll pick Vayne, they'll pick something that has, like, super scaling and a very good lane. So, the fact that, you know, they've locked in the Kai'Sa, bit of a statement. It says, like, we're not really worried what you can pick into it. And just going to be the Varus.
Certainly is. So look at to sit back and stay protected as the Kai'Sa does come on and, well, kind of just remind us as to what Violet was able to do in Split 1, right? Where he was just given the resources, able to pop off like you wouldn't believe, find himself in situations where he could dive in deep, pretty much do what he wanted without any agency required from the rest of his team. So I'm excited, but what it does mean, Juves, which we've completely glossed over, is the fact that Gwen, for the first time in Split 2, has not been banned, so it's going to be locked in.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden you have a double flex, like Gwen mid, Gwen top,
yeah,
Akali mid, Akali top, and it's almost like they forgot too. They were like, wait, everyone just kind of like, wait, Gwen's
wait,
open.
they didn't first pick Gwen, and we didn't pick it up in a response,
Yeah,
so hang on a minute, what's happened here?
But no, before they even locked Gwen, I wanted to say, I wish with the Kai'Sa blind, they actually locked in Draven. I don't know if Kalrock's a Draven player, but that would have been such a hype pick, especially with the buffs that Draven's received on this patch.
Yeah.
However, you know, I'm more excited to see how this Gwen plays out. But now the thing to consider is all three champions that you have AP ratios, right? Like Gwen, Akali being the main damage source, ability power. Varus has like a hint of ability power damage. But now you're kind of pincered into needing an AD-based jungler. Xin Zhao has now been taken away. You know, potentially they opt in for another ban, a traditional 80 jungler type ban. You know, maybe the Kindred, maybe the Rek'Sai, maybe like whatever it is. And then you're just pincered into having 3 AP topside. So this is kind of dangerous for Direwolves.
So it does feel that way, and it begs the question as to what AD champion would that be, right? You know, if you think about only the first few champions that come to mind would be Olaf and Lee Sin. Obviously, Lee Sin has been banned away, taken away here on the side of Peace already. So you start to really narrow that that champion pool further and wonder, you know, what is the direction? You can see him on your screen right there, deep in thought, considering, I'm sure, alongside all the coaching staff as we continue the bans with Peace having removed the Xin Zhao as well as the Braum. Direwolves now putting a bit of a focus onto some AP themselves with an Ori and a Rumble.
Yep, and I did mention the Kindred. The reason I don't like the Kindred here for only, if that's what he opts in for, is because you're not going to be playing with priority. Like, you have Gwen, you have Akali, they're not the strongest, like, early level champs, especially if they're not into favorable matchups. I genuinely wouldn't mind seeing Direwolves pick up something like the Rek'Sai, giving only a little bit of, and hang on a minute, that's a Zed.
This is unbelievable. I wish we had mid-lords in the conversation right now. Have you seen his tweets? They just crack me up.
Great, clock, is it?
Great draft, GG, fantastic interview. You know, I'm basically the best. I live for those tweets, and I'm really curious to see what he's putting together here because we are now rattling through. And I think at the top of the show, Mac was asking, would we see Hecarim? And here's your answer.
I said no, and I thought it might be because, hear me out. In solo queue, Rek'Sai's win rate's kind of skyrocketed a little bit. It's more of like the Prowler's Claw interaction has definitely allowed you to snowball games quite easily. And I thought maybe that's what we would see here, right? Because that's what Direwolves' composition sort of needs or will benefit from, because you have the scaling of the Gwen, scaling of the Akali, and it can just bridge that gap. But Hecarim's something we forgot about, right? So many buffs, or 2 buffs in 2 patches. You know, Divine Sundara buff as well, so in the indirect Hecarim buff there, maybe we'll see a bit of an only pop-off on the Hecarim.
Yeah, potentially there's the pop-off potential there, but it feels a little bit overshadowed by the other picks that come on through right now because, if anything, I'm just seeing so much, you know, ego potential between individual laners, between matchups that can show off No, just their strength. It seems to me as if, you know, on the one hand, you've got Claire looking to go for the all-in potential of a flashless Gwen, looking to showcase what he can do into Appy. We sort of told the story that he's graduated from top lane school. He's had a lot of stand-up performances. And, you know, then you have to look at the fact in mid lane, 2 major assassins. It is going to be Shock playing the Akali, going to go into a Zed. And it feels like we've gone back a few seasons.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not sure how I feel, and we'll have to see if that was actually a final shot that we got there, but Zed's opted in for the TP, because you do need TP to cheat tempo sometimes in competitive sense, right? In solo queue, you get away with the Ignite, you get the kill, and you get the free reset, right? But with the TP allows you to match the Akali, it gives you that cheat of tempo, and it's going to be definitely a huge summoner spell to see what Halo takes, because in my opinion, if you don't have that Ignite and you don't have that kill threat onto the Akali, then you're just going to get outscaled and quite quickly. You know, there is the Karthus there though from Babip, which I'm super excited to see. Like, if anyone knows me, I'm the biggest Karthus fanboy ever. When Karthus is in the game, I'm so happy. So, in that sense, it's going to be good to see. But Hecarim can shut down Karthus. It is actually a decent Hecarim matchup, especially at level 6, because you have one-shot potential and you have the move speed to get out. So across the board, Skimmy, there's actually quite exciting drafts.
Certainly are. There's a lot to keep you interested, dazzled and impressed. And we're going to have to figure out how this game does play out. Are we going to see early game shenanigans? Are we going to be waiting for level 6? Or are we just going to be scaling? All those questions and more are going to be answered as this game takes place here. Direwolves up against Peace, week number 2. And to coach us through some of these decisions, we do have the coach of the Direwolves on standby in Farmer.
What's up, guys?
Long time no see. How have you been, first of all?
I've been alright. How have you been, Skimmy?
Look, mate, I'm living the dream, mate. We're having a good time here, casting some games. And look, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of excitement here. That's what's pretty much got me and Juves keen to see this one play out. Talk me a little bit through this draft, because there's so many opportunities for players to individually outplay and impress. I'm curious to see how it all comes together, though.
Yeah, we got a lot of spicy solo or one-on-one interactions, and I guess the Zed and Karthus picks are a bit of a surprise to us, but like they're just, well, at least we think they're just inefficient champs, so hopefully we punish them on stage.
Beautiful, beautiful. I want to talk about the fact that Gwen, obviously, the fact is, been banned every single game. It didn't get first pick. It didn't get responded to. It seems a little bit haphazard to say, did you guys forget about it? But was there a key plan to say, we're going for a Gwen?
No, we just have opinions on Gwen. I think that Peace also has opinions on Gwen, and like we think it's strong, but we just didn't think it's first pick worthy, so that's why it fell in the draft the way it did. But we thought it was good where we picked it, so there's not much more to say about it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'm excited to see it in action, as Claire has gone for the TP Ignite, so it's going to be cool to see play out. Changing focus now from the top side of the map down to the bottom lane. How's Kaorok found it? I mentioned going into this game, you know, it must be a fair bit of pressure that he's having to shoulder, given the fact that his games so far have been up against the likes of Pensnet and now Peace.
Yeah, honestly, he's a trooper. Like, he's in pretty unfortunate circumstances, but we've thrown him into the gauntlet, and he's like stepping up, stepping in whenever he can, and doing whatever's needed. But more than that, I think he's just like, I'm just really keen to prove himself, and the fact that we were against PG and Peace never seemed to phase him. So I think that's pretty cool to see from a young talent like himself.
Yeah, no doubt at all. Talk to me a little bit about the new coach, obviously Sleepy coming in to try and inject a bit of different perception as to what is strong and sort of what the identity looks like. Has that changed much behind the scenes in terms of how the team has been looking at the game, or forming their ideas of what drafts are strong? Because we've seen a few different teams already so early on have very interesting stances on what they think is strong.
Yeah, Sleepy's great. Basically, any major change to the coaching staff will always change the dynamic to how the team interacts and what the environment's like. And he's just slotted in really well with the rest of us. So, and kind of taken a leadership position in a lot of different aspects of the game. So yeah, it's just great working alongside him. And for sure, he's been definitely a boon to improving Direwolves as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, mate. Well, we'll leave it there for the meantime. We're going to crack on in with this game and see how it all plays out. But I appreciate your time as always, and best of luck.
Thanks. See you.
All right, Juves. A lot to digest there. Obviously, yeah, as it would make no surprise. A new coach, new ideas. Why wouldn't it be? But we can't continue to gloss over the fact that they said that they think Gwen is an interesting pick. And also interesting is Cheeky all in. We come straight back from the pools, so I get tongue-tied, and a kill goes out on to the side of Peace.
Yeah, and if I'm being brutally honest, that seems like it's a little bit of nerves for Calrock. Like we did say, you know, we did hear in the coach's interview, not much has really phased him, but very uncharacteristic mistake there. Like, uses the cleanse late, doesn't use the flash, kind of dies through that traditional, you know, all in the bot lane that we've seen for 9 years of League of Legends, right? It's almost like an unacceptable death for an AD carry, but we'll see how he bounces back. It's going to be an uphill battle against the bot lane.
Yeah, certainly is. If you give this Peace bot lane an inch, they certainly do take a mile, and you can't afford to give somebody like Violet all that pressure because we know how formidable he is at picking up CS and funneling up resources, getting gold items, and hitting those power spikes nice and early. But as much as we can harp on about that, still really, really excited to see how the rest of these lanes play out. Mid and top in particular. As you already said, the fact that Only has the potential to try and outplay BaByP here. And we've already seen Peace have to go up against the Karthus composition. It was against Chiefs. That game went late, what, 42 minutes or so? They had pretty much everything they needed, but a lot of shields and protection were there to offer them. But the side of Direwolves won't have that liberty this time to prevent their Requiem.
They won't, and it was actually Violet on the other, in that game, if I remember correctly, that was just absolutely 1v9ing the team fights from about 20% health. So let's see if BaByP has that same effect on the Karthus. Now, the one kind of, I guess, good thing, if you're a Direwolves fan here, is that although Calrock did die, he's actually not weaker than Violet, because Violet hasn't gone back and based, right? They have the summoner advantage in terms of, like, the cleanse being down, so it's going to fare very well for the Leona if she ever gets on top of him. But, like, in terms of just the hook,
well, there is the hook. There's the aftershock. Here comes Only, who is hanging out for trouble, waiting for something. He realizes that, well, they do both have double sums. It's probably not the play we're looking for. And they will back away.
this is what Gwen does so well with Ignite, by the way.
Certainly does. Looking for that all-in trade right there. Going to go invulnerable for a meantime. Needs one more. Oh, the preemptive flash! And that's even without Claire not having one. Just so much power that Gwen offers.
Yeah, Gwen taking Ignite is just, I don't want to call it a cheese, but you really do underestimate the amount of kill threat that she has in lane in early levels. Now with that flash being burnt and Appy having to TP back straight away, Claire will probably, you know, second that and teleport back as well. But the lane state is in such a good position now because there's no Lee Sin flash, less mobility, less room to escape at level 6 as well. So we've got to keep our eyes on pretty much bot and top and now mid, because mid's about to ding level 6.
Yeah, that's where things certainly do get to a bit of a spicy talking point. Here they come. Only looking for a wide angle to try and bring back Halo. Looking for one more auto. He flashes away, and he does survive. And Aladoric is here now, who's wanting to try and turn the tide of this battle in their favor. Here comes BaByP for TP in from Direwolves. Exhaust onto the Karthus, making sure that his damage output is minimized. Only will fall on down. Aladoric survives. The rest of the boys come back on through. A flash forward. Gunkrab looking for the passive. Locks him in place. A delayed hook. That will seem to be on two different pages right now. Do they want to go in or do they want to back away? And Claire, well, he picks up a fair few shots with the passive, but a lot of summoners burnt and nothing really to talk about.
It's ultimately just getting outplayed, right? Like Peace were just holding summoner spells to the millisecond. Like one more, if Hecarim just breathed through his nose, Halo falls down there. And he's able to flash out of the way, bait Only, shock, and Gunkrab into what was just a no man's land, and I had no business winning that fight. And the worst thing for Claire there, and okay, and again, this is the thing Akali does really well into the Z matchup, right? Goes into the Shroud, has the extra bit of mobility to dash away from the Shurikens, and you know, now that Halo has no ultimate, it's kind of a non-champion, right? Like Akali has all the onus in this lane now, especially with the level 6 being dinged.
Well, he is. He's been removed from the equation. You saw how little that death mark did. As you say, you need to stack up on that damage within that window, and nothing was found. He's going to take that time, though, to play towards the strength in the bot half of the map and pick up the first dragon. It's going to be an Infernal one, so they're not going to complain about that one. But level 6 is, as you say, on both ends, where really a lot of that power can be truly unleashed, is starting to come online.
Now, the tough part about competitive League of Legends is that every trade now, you have to factor in Karthus ultimate, right? Because if you're Violet and Aladoric, the only time that you're going in is when you know BaByP is aware, saying, "Oh, we're gonna all in bot lane in about 10 seconds," right? And so you see Aladoric already sniffing around, already looking to land that Zenith Blade. And Babip is, oh, he's yoinked it. He's
I
just yoinked.
saw 12 HP on my screen there, and you're thinking he just needs to breathe again.
I think he missed the Skittle. He actually skittled the Hecarim, which I guess isn't a bad thing, right? In the sense that you're landing your skill shots. Unfortunately, you missed the red buff. And this is what I talk about, the matchup. Sorry, excuse me to cut you off there. That the Hecarim, or the Karthus Hecarim matchup is Hecarim favored early, just because you don't have enough juice in the tank as the Karthus to really have, you know, that, I'm not going to call it a one-shot, but kill threat.
Like
right?
the staying power, right?
Yeah. Because then as the game goes on and you pick up the Liandry's or the Ludens, depending on what you've opted in for, at a certain point, Hecarim then has to make a decision. Is he trading 1-for-1 or is he not? Because as a Karthus, you can still influence the team fight or the map with the 1-for-1. And I'll hold that thought because the red buff invade.
He seems to be quite angry about this one. Only doesn't have a smite, and they're going to just pick that red up for free. They hand it across to Violet too. The Requiem was there to try and scare him off initially. A Blast Cone has actually trolled Violet, and that's unbelievable. Now they're going to try and stack the CC to prevent the flash into the Dragon Pit, and they are so damn successful. Jeez, what on earth was that?
That was questionable gaming. I mean, Babip, you have to think preemptively ulted there because Violet was just going to opt in for the all-in, right? Like, that's what I think the communication was. But what you have to remember is Karthus is a farm first, ult second champion. So once your ult's down, you really, in a competitive sense, don't offer anything because Karthus is just going to go back to full clear duties. And now everyone on the Direwolves can play with a little more confidence. Yeah. You have to say it's a big, you know, drop of the ball from Babip because your first Karthus ultimate needs to have an impact, needs to do something. And it's done nothing, hasn't even picked up a Dark Harvest stack.
Yeah, it's a rough situation to find yourself in now, isn't it? The fact that you initially made a fantastic play to steal away the red buff, but the fact that the Blast Cone literally trolls Violet into not even being able to use the flash, given the amount of CC that went his way. And Direwolves have been offered an invitation back into this game so early on. Sure, it's a 1k gold in the favor of pace, but Direwolves are looking to try and play towards the strength that they are finding in the top half of the map with what you said is the Ignite variation with no flash to offer. So bring Claire down, desirable lane state for him, pick up the Heralds, and look to unlock even more gold in his back pocket.
But you do love to see that from Gunkrab as well, right? You know, he's the one that made the play there. He was the one that's playing off-roll, but he's proactive. He decides to say, hey, Violet's going to face check, let's make this play. And it worked out for him.
Yeah. And it showcases the experience that he has, not only as a bot laner, but the fact that he has played support multiple times throughout his career. So you would say that he is a bot lane player in complete full nature. He understands the inner workings of sort of what your AD carry needs and what he can offer as well. So going to delay the recall here. Had no vision, but that's not going to prevent him from going for the Riptide. And we're going to try and get Kaorok back into this one here with a bit of CS in his favor.
And Only's done a very good job in terms of pathing this game, right? Hold that thought.
Be careful here. Aga's a Solar Flare. Gunkrab Only now has actually hit level 6. Needs to hit the ultimate. A two-man knockup. There's the exhaust. Kaorok instantly cleanses that one, and Violet's just dead. Violet's just going to fall on down. He has no money. He has no opportunity to do anything here. Once again, a flash is available, but they get baited out by the big brain of Gunkrab.
I mean, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, you saw they wanted to reset. Like, in their mind, they were resetting. They didn't want that fight. Now, look at the wave that Violet is losing bot side. I mean, heads up play from Kaorok and Gunkrab. Like, they're showing why they're bot laners. I mean, I'm just very impressed. I'm very impressed by Gunkrab and Kaorok, right? I mean, might be an all-in.
Certainly won't be an all-in. Straight away into the mist again. Let's see how much this ultimate does. Once again, barely anything.
And this is why I didn't like the Zed pick. I like the idea in the sense it synergizes so well with the Karthus. But in terms of the one pick Akali, having Zed go into that, you see every time. Rush Seeker's Arm Guard, drop the Shroud, soon as Zed ultis, wait it out, and there's ultimately no more kill threat. Because Babip was waiting, right? The comms was, I'm gonna drop the Requiem. Just go all in. And the all in is just a tickle.
It really isn't doing much at this stage of the game, and despite him going for the Eclipse, sure, that's extra burst, extra damage, all the things that a Zed will want. He still needs the uptime, and if he can't see you, he can't do much about it.
Yeah, 100%. And it looks like a Dragon that's potentially going to go over to the side of Direwolves, and they've really steadied the ship. I mean, a 1k gold deficit? They've equalized, and what you have to consider is the Rift Herald is on Only. So that is just gold in the bank that will be dropped after this reset.
Yeah, the question is, where do they want to go? Because it's a Cloud Soul now to play for, so a lot of cooldown reduction and movement speed, as if these two teams didn't want that already. They're going to be very happy at the ability to continue to go forward and seek out opportunity and find creative angles at which they can exchange from. Going to be Babbitt sniffing out once again towards the enemy blue buff. Not going to find anything though, but he does get at least some vision. But you can see that only once again is pathing towards the top side of the map to potentially drop that Rift Herald. The Solar Flare once again doesn't really meet its mark. And that wave, once again, is going to have to lose Pro.
But I like that from Aladoric, right? You know, they've considered Babby's ultimate. They know Varus has no cleanse. So, really, if that lands, I think Kalrock's as good as dead. He held his nerve, though, with the flash. So, well done from him. But again, good play from Aladoric. Just execution goes a little amiss.
Worth a try. It's the Prowler's Claw now, giving Kalrock a bit more opportunity to try and play around with his positioning. If he does have a very steady hand and doesn't fall victim to the Leona Flare going on out nice and quickly. There is going to be the Rift Herald finally being dropped down here by Only. Going to go through to the mid lane, feeling that, well, Shock, you're having a fantastic time against the Zed. Let's just give you a few more resources.
I will say, though, Halo, in saying everything that I've said, does have the item spike, right? You look at Shock, he's got components of everything. He's got components to survive the lane versus Zed, and now he's going to opt in for his mythic item, right? So, in that sense, Halo still has agency in this lane, and if Shock misplays, you best believe Halo is going to pick up the kill. But you have to say, like, at a certain point, you want your Zed to get involved. You want Zed to have a KP. You want him to have something somewhere to show for his time. And the longer that this game goes and stays kind of neutral, like the Akali will just have a better and better time each reset. So really need to see something explode here, and I think Aladoric recognizes that, but Pings have spotted him.
He's looking for it, as you're mentioning. Halo does still have that advantage, and more than anything, it feels like to me, Juves, is that you want to try and force out the Shroud to be burnt so that he does have the ability to hit that death mark, right? You know, there hasn't really been too much attention thrown his way, so he's exclusively holding onto it for that one ultimate. And as a result, he's having a bit of a gentleman's agreement in the mid lane for it. So, elsewhere on the map, where the chaos begins, Claire, despite having a really strong start, is actually being completely matched here by Appy too, starting to find his own power spike.
The one person that I've actually been very impressed with this game is Only. He's coming up against Babip, right? And we can't, I don't think we can stress enough where Babip came from.
Yeah.
And you know, the year that he's had in terms of development and in terms of what I guess everyone was expecting when he came back to the region. And in terms of just, you know, pathing and what he's done against the Karthus, Only's ahead. Like, he's got the Divine Sunderer. Sure, he's died once, but he's able to steal camps away, got the EXP lead, picked up a dragon, and he's at that threshold now where he really wants to make something happen.
20 years, you can see what it means because there's a two-man blast cone. Shot away with the wall to scout out any opportunity, but Dire Wolves, they really are understanding of the missing members here and play a very defensive posture. That will mean they may just lose. Yeah, it's not going to fall on down, but a fair bit of damage. Oh, the hook! That could have been a very dead Aladoric.
If that lands, he might go night-night. Now, the one thing I wanted to touch on, and this might be mid-turret broken, good rotation from Claire.
Pretty good rotation, isn't it? A pressure point that they're going to find. It's all a bit of a bait. They go down bot side now. Kalrock, the one to go for the flash. Is he topped up and healthy? He just lives. He doesn't die. A Dark Harvest stack goes across. Now a TP in to bolster up their ranks and prevent this turret from potentially falling on down. Claire running top, mid, and bot, doing it all.
I mean, the turret in mid lane already died, so I guess it wasn't really saving the turret from first blood turret. I think he more or less wanted to pick up the kills, but across the board, you know, you'd have to say that trade there favors peace in terms of summoner spells that were burnt. Yeah, they lost the mid turret, but they're getting two on the sides as well. So we'll probably see the gold swing in their direction, which it already has. And just a really nice play, utilizing that Karthus ultimate, utilizing the all-in pressure that they have bot lane, and they were able to just, pick up two turrets in return.
Certainly were. They were able to really force Dire Wolves' hand to make a play, go across the map and seek out opportunity. They aren't going to be the ones to find it, however, as you say. The rest of the Dire Wolves bot lane were too far gone by that point, and Peace had done enough to say that, well, we can just let the minions, if anything, take this tower down. So, TP advantage now is in favor of Peace. They only have one on their side versus the two that Dire Wolves had to play around with, but Appy now has the opportunity to do as he pleases.
He does, and I want you to keep your eyes on the fact that Violet's ultimate is going to be coming off cooldown. Leona already has hers. Anytime there's a misstep from Kalrock, like he's doing now, He's as good as dead. Teleport.
Gunkrab's just going to go in. That means the TP straight away. Karok's going to flash away. He has no protection, no teammates, and no idea why he's there, exposed and left alone. Gunkrab, he leads the line, but he'll fall on down, swarmed and pounced upon by 5 hungry members apiece. And that means good timing, good execution, and a second dragon in their favor.
That's just really good setup from Aladoric, right? He's the one that gets there early, before the dragon spawns, or before at least Gunkrab sets up. Gets some deep vision. He's able to set up that TP flank, and it's just a little bit disjointed. And it's kind of what we expect, right, from the Direwolves, and what we've been wanting to see them fix. You know, everything's all well and good in the laning phase, but as soon as there's like that dragon fight, or you need to do the fundamentals correctly, they get punished.
Huge punishment as well. And whilst the gold lead once again goes back in Peace's favor, it's still very small numbers we're talking about here. Only a 1,000 gold lead back for Peace to start talking about here as we are fast approaching that 20-minute mark. Only is going to take the opportunity as a result then to go topside and pick up the second Herald. And short, the turret plates are gone, but the ability to try and close back this turret differential, the 2-for-1 trade that Peace have found, can't be overlooked. Give them a chance, more than anything, to start playing around with their TPs, because they'll be coming up first.
Now, Roofmakers have been picked up on both solo laners for the side of Direwolf. Karthus ultimate is up as well. Seems to be just a trade of minions. Might be in for a slower game. I don't think Peace feel any pressure to really accelerate this and force fights. And much of the same for Direwolves, right? They're probably really confident in the late game scaling they have on this Gwen, on the Akali, and you know, this Varus is just going to be doing damage at all points anyway, because there's no real tank on the side of Peace. Like, probably Lee Sin would be the tankiest member.
Oh! Well, some things are better left unsaid there, Juves, and we're just going to look at Gunkrab instead, who's going to look to try and disengage our way. The Ignite goes out, the Deathmark is not enough on this occasion, he will survive. But Karok, he saw something that obviously we didn't.
Yeah, I mean, we can either pencil that down to an idea or pencil that down to nerfs. I don't know. I was looking for a pink ward, a pot, or something that maybe he misclicked instead of using the Prowler's Claw. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? Maybe if they win the game, we'll get Nat to ask.
Yeah, that's a good question. It is a good question, and this is, you know, you hate to put a lot of focus on a player like that, but you know,
that's a big play.
It's a scary situation to find yourself in.
Yeah, because all of a sudden you got some kill participation on the Lee Sin, on the Zed now. But the Eclipse almost well on the way for that second lethality item, and Shock might be in a bit of trouble here too.
Now what can Shock do in this situation? He's got the flash, and he's going to look to go for that miss straight away. Now there is no Deathmark. It is actually, sorry, it is back up. So now that he comes out of this one, he's in a whole world of pain. He might just get one shot like this underneath the turret. How much HP does he have?
He's lived.
How?
Yeah, I don't know, but even though he lives, you still have to consider the value they got from that play being Peace, right? They use the Deathmark that's off cooldown in about 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Price ultimate, much of the same. And Shock's had to burn his flash, have to burn the Akali ultimate. And as a cooldown, the Akali ultimate is so valuable for how this composition functions for Direwolves. Yeah. And it's something that Violet does so well when he's playing this Kai'Sa. He always attacks the side lane, traditionally.
Okay, yep. Only looking for a cheeky all-in right now. Divine Sunder, a power spike unlocked.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know what it is with these players, but somehow they survive on 10%. Okay, there we go. Gunkrab going to be the one to seal the deal. The exhaust onto Babip, and a flash across the wall from Violet, playing very aggressively right now, but 2 from 2 on the hooks. Gunkrab doing whatever he can to try and pad the meters, pad the CC, and allow Claire to run this game. The needlework is flawless. He's found the stitches. And he has sewn a beautiful picture with a double kill.
You got to be happy with that, right? As a Direwolf fan, it is a 3 for 2. If you want to talk about it, yeah, being a 3 for 2, they're going to pick up a turret top side of the map, and you know, all of a sudden you start to look at this Gwen. I mean, Gwen is kind of that the forbidden fruit, right? We don't really know what Gwen does,
sure, because
it's been banned, and then every time that you have seen it, it's kind of pogged off. So I'm kind of getting excited and worried at the same time, right? If you're a Peace fan, you're a little bit worried. What does this Gwen do? Bit of an unknown quantity. And then it's just a nice play here from Only. Halo knows he has no flash, knows he has no ultimate. Divine Sunder are just putting in so much work. I mean, we can see why the item is so good, but I mean, even the Hecarim buffs coming on through here. And Peace are just in a position where there's no setup. They're just reacting, and they have to burn double flash to get over the wall. And Claire just says, okay, I mean, I don't need flash. I got the mobility. Good as dead.
Certainly is as good as that. It's just wild to me there that Violet flashed the wall because they realize they're in such a weird position that they have to try and continue the uptime, and it's a high risk for a high reward, but on this occasion, it falls just a little bit short there. Claire finding his first bit of a participation into this game. 2 kills so sorely needed to allow this champion to pop off and showcase what it can do in the OS region. But hold that thought for 2 seconds once again, because Guncrab, he just doesn't hold on. He's looking for hooks on repeat. Carrot once again in trouble. Burns the Prowler's Claw and the Flash going to get dropped down to 20%. And Halo pays the ultimate price. And he dies, but Violet finds a kill. A trade onto Only. Now it's all about who has the CDs and who has the damage output to try and make this one look good. Requiem! He's going to come out with the golden stopwatch, and it's just not going to be enough. They're burning. They're dying. Leandries is the clutch. It's the hero. Appy hunting for more underneath the turret, but the Sonic Wave would be risky. Despite the turret being low, they turn their attention towards Baron.
Yeah, and I thought that fight was almost Direwolves, right? I seen Claire in the back line. I saw Shock pick up Halo very early, but it's almost just unplayable for Calrock, right? Halo's just got a mark on his head. Anytime he sees him, he's instantly flashing for him. And Shock's here.
Shock doesn't have Flash, nor does he have Ultimate. And yeah, they were looking for maybe some scraps. Not going to find anything on this occasion. Peace still very low. He's still unsure as to whether or not he wants to try and go for a kill, but ultimately he's going to sacrifice this one and have to wait out the DoorDash Baron buff.
Yeah, and Lee Sin's just relative strength, I think, is a little bit too much in that particular team fight, right? Appy has just been sitting in side lanes all game, collecting farm, collecting solo EXP, and look at the level differential now, especially with the Baron buff. He's 2 levels up on this Gwen.
Bit of a disaster, to say the least. And
Gold lead.
you look elsewhere, right? And you say, oh, hang on a minute, there's a Carthus that's 4-1 and 4. So 7 stacks, and maybe the first ultimate doesn't meet its mark, but they are starting to hurt big time now.
Yeah. And this is the point, and we might see a fight break out.
Dragon's already gone, and the fight, it doesn't look too committal. Don't think Direwolves are keen to try and turn things around either. Back off away from this one, and wait another 5 minutes until Dragon Soul.
Yeah, and this is the point I wanted to talk about with Karthus in terms of, this is the point of itemization where it's really no return. Because as a Hecarim, sure you have Sterax, and if you want to consider Akali as well, if you ever do take Babip down, and that's a big if because he's got stasis now, you will die. It will be a 1-for-1 at a minimum. And then the Requiem's just going to chunk your Calrock to half health anyway, so it does become a little bit of an uphill battle, especially with, you know, the relative strength coming through from Appy, Halo, and Violet.
Well, Peace know they're ahead now, and it's not by a 1k gold lead, it's up by 4. Direwolves playing to the bushes, looking for an opportunity. Force use the ultimate to get away. Oh, that's a beautiful solar flare there by Aladoric. Stop it. That's clean, and that's quite clutch. But can they find more as a result? It's a fantastic 3-man ultimate from Guncrab, but it's just no follow-up. Shock's late to the fight. Claire's already dead. Shock? And Carrick zoned away. Shock, surely this is the biggest execution of your life right now. Dashes to a minion! Oh, he can't take out Violet. And Carrick can't find the gun range there to hit the arrow to take out another one. He sees 2 members low. The clone might be enough to try and cycle through the cooldowns of the Q. He's going to jump in and hit one to the face. Bit of a disgrace.
Yeah.
As that is a 26-minute ace.
And it's just, this is why Peace is so good, right? It's always the mechanics. It's always the mechanics that come out big for them there. Like if Shock gets R2 onto Violet and he's able to take Violet down, who had no flash at the time, you know, potentially we're talking about a different game, different gold lead, and some big shutdowns that go across the board. We have the replay here. This looks like it's going to be a wash for Direwolves, right? In the sense that they're just going to get clean.
Yeah.
See the Karthus ultimate come down. It looks so good. But then on the back end here, Claire's just able to do so much damage. Guncrab ultimate out of the Nautilus. Multiple members. And keep your eyes on Shock here. You hate to highlight it, but just misses R2. It would have been, you know, Violet would have been as good as dead. Potentially get the Triumph, kills Halo as well. And then we're talking about a different game. And it's, again, game of millimeters, game of centimeters.
And it's just crazy to me how close it was, given the fact that, first of all, Direwolves are late to the fight, that they get collapsed upon it. As you say, looked like a bit of a stomp, but Guncrab just buys enough time to lock them in place to try and find that kind of turnaround. And you know, these are what define these sort of championship-winning teams, right? Taking those small millimeter moments and running with the wind.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more. And now we look at this outfit and we look at pieces, or we look at Violet's items, and we start to think, okay, how do you win this team fight now? If you just want to play traditional front to back, you got the Karthus sitting on Violet, and when Violet feels comfortable enough, he's going to get backline access, and you have to think like this lethality. Varus is maybe just a little bit too far behind to be relevant at this point. The gold deficit isn't big, isn't big enough that a teamfight win for Direwolves is out of the realm of possibilities. But they definitely need these. They definitely need to win the next fight because they're starting to fall behind a lot in EXP.
Yeah, they certainly do. And we were wondering, okay, maybe it'll just be playing passively until that next dragon spawns. But Peace with the Baron buff had other ideas in mind. What is worth noting, though, is there is going to be a nice little overlap between the spawning of both the Baron and that soul point. So there's a potential chance for both teams to posture elsewhere and hold each other ransom as to what the best idea might be. And Direwolves, no doubt, going to be looking to try and pray that is the opportunity that presents itself in catching somebody off guard. Looking to try and play towards that idea. Now, Direwolves, knowing that those things are up in 60 seconds, they want to go now. Claire's jumped in, already hit both charges of his mists, and now he's in a fair bit of trouble, but can skip and slash across back into the safety of mid lane, and no harm, no foul.
That's okay. Disengage coming out of Direwolves, good force there. They didn't get, any crucial summoner spells out, but they did get Appy's TP. So you got to be happy with that. Use the ghost on the Hecarim, but that will be up shortly. Halo is hunting.
Aladoric. He's been called. He's on his own right now. He's going to go for the flash. Had to pop Locket as well. The component of their engage has been removed. Now Appy. Ooh.
Look, wouldn't matter. Close. Wouldn't matter. Look at the itemization coming out from this.
Oh, for sure.
Big tanky boy. But this does give a little bit of time for Direwolves. Claire's able to maybe pick up that 16 on a few more bot waves. Dragon is spawning. Again, maybe not the worst dragon to go across. Like, if you're going to lose soul, this is the soul you do want to lose. But we'll see what Direwolves decide to do. Claire on the flank. Keep your eyes on Claire because it is going to be it will be what Direwolves want to be, sort of a front to back with Claire on a flank. So he is basing though. Maybe has the Zhonyas in base. Yep, watch for TP.
Well, here we go. 30 minutes in, a soul point to play for Peace with 42 Cloud Dragons to the name. This will give them a fair bit of cooldown reduction, ultimate ability, movement speed, and above all else, it just doesn't matter because only can Smite steal that one away. Add insult to injury, out comes the Requiem. Halo will just get members right now. At least 10-15% has been taken off their health bar. Shock already down to 50%. So he's out of the fight straight away. Job done. Prevent the soul. Buy more time. Halo looking for a bit of an all-in right now. Gets exhausted. Denies and jukes out the onslaught from Hecarim.
Oh, miscommunication.
And now huge miscommunication. Absolutely there, Juves. He's gone in. Guncrab forced to flash away there from the magic missiles that were coming out from Violet's Kaiser. It's just a bit of chaos.
It's chaos, but it's a little bit of, it's like structured chaos for Peace, right? Halo knows exactly what he's doing there, knows his limitations very well, and now all of a sudden, if we're talking about health bars being a resource, Direwolves aren't really in a good position to contest this Baron. And with a Kai'Sa, with a Karthus, it's going to melt.
Feels like it's as good as gone. Direwolves focused and fixated right now on clearing out the vision more so than anything. Only's just being kicked away. You can't steal away 2 in a row, mate. Out goes the miss once again. Claire looking to try and find a solo kill. Halo on the flank, takes out Karok. He's unprotected. Where's the support? Where's the team? He can just retreat back to his original form. Now, how many buffs of this can Direwolves look to try and remove? Can they find anything? It doesn't look to be the case right now because it's the Violet Show who picks up a triple kill. And he said, have you forgotten about me? Because I've got so many more items than your Varus.
It's pretty astonishing how Halo's found Calrock access and might be a kill here.
Ult goes out again, and okay. That's a shutdown.
Yeah, big shutdown. Happy with that one if you're only. But it's astonishing how Halo's just found Calrock access one-on-one, 9 times out of 10 this game. Right, I think maybe 5 of his 6 deaths, barring the 2v2 bot side, has just been direct access to Calrock. The Direwolves need to do a better job in identifying their win conditions in these fights. So, about to go to a replay here. Obviously, crucial cooldowns are down for the side of Direwolves. Like, no Gwen ultimate, but look at Calrock. He's just no help whatsoever. They're more focused on contesting the Baron and the CC. And Peace are just pretty much playing front to back to a T, right? They have 4 members standing on the Karthus, standing on the wall, standing on the Defile, and Halo just playing Disruption in the backline. And that's exactly how you're meant to execute this composition.
And you can see what it all basically means. We've got a bit of a glimpse as towards that damage spreadsheet. 5K is how much Violet put out that time around, and he was mirrored by a lot of high numbers across the rest of that roster. And that's what it means in terms of gold sheets. It's the same story, just another day. He farms up a Storm, he finds the kills, he's got the trust of his team, and he's got 15K off the overall team's economy.
Yeah, and you know, you start to wonder where does, because again, we look at the goal deficit, 6K, 7K. It's not great, but in a 32-minute game, it's definitely not as bad because they've survived to a point in which itemization has come through on everyone. Like you look at Gwen, 3 items, Hecarim, 3 items, Akali about to pick up 3 items. So if you mis-execute, the team fight for Direwolves is winnable, but they haven't been mis-executing. And that's the problem that Direwolves are running into. They haven't identified yet how they win a team fight. They need Akali out on a flank or Claire out on a flank, but it's just all been front to back with Kalrock getting picked off. Look at Claire.
Yeah, I mean, Claire, right now, I'm just watching the minimap. Is the fact is that he's looking to try and find a trade, and so you can go for the push, but I'm going to look to try and open up a win condition of our own. He's going to cancel out the Sonic Wave. He's, yeah, freed up a lane for a backdoor potential. He's got TP. He might try to reset, but I'm sure Appy has ideas in mind to prevent that. It's going to be a full 4v4 base defenses. It's going to be only that gets locked in place by the ult. Doesn't seem to matter, though. And now it becomes a case of a 4-1 split, but in very long lanes.
And Appy knows he can't win this, but he's just using the Baron to usher Claire out of base, right? They're not going to lose the inhibitor, but that's good heads-up play from Direwolves. To know they can win the side lane, and there's nothing Appy can do. So in terms of generating pressure, stopping the push from Peace, Claire's done a very good job, and he's honestly given the Direwolves another chance to win another team fight, because if you think about the Dragon fight that's coming up, that's one way you can create a little bit of chaos, and you can get your Assassins backline access. If they're sieging in a lane, it's a lot harder. So now Direwolves have kind of bought a second chance. They've bought a ticket to a team fight at the Dragon, and they'll probably have the death cap on Akali, and they'll have these item break points where, you know, it'll just be their best shot. Nice poke.
A lot of good poke. Oh, fantastic ultimate there to prevent the CC chain. There were a lot of members in play, and Peace were ready to pick that one apart. And can't afford to be as the jungler dead at this moment of the game, because another Dragon is spawning up in 10 seconds here now. Chance number 2 for the soul point to be picked up. And, well, without a flash, without an ultimate, going to be a little bit harder now to try and find an entry.
Yeah, I mean, and they're doing the smart thing, right? They're giving this one up. It's kind of what they had to do before the Baron they gave up before. Only without the Hecarim ultimate is pretty much not a champion. Not going to be able to find access to Violet, especially with those double summoners. So they'll just farm. And you know what they'll do? They'll be wanting to hold on until Elder Drake, because that's just the flip that can win you the game.
That's if Peace let this game go that long. That's another 6 minutes away.
Yeah.
And they seem to be geared up and ready to rock and roll and take this one down. Claire once again on split pushing duty, saying, well, I can push bot lane. I can open up top lane too. Buying time, but it's time a quantity that Direwolves have available to them. And Chain of Corruptions does not connect there, despite the Prowler Claw best effort.
It's cute, though. It's cute. I like it. You know, Kalrock's not afraid to make plays in the late game here. 35 minutes in on a Varus, running at a Z like that. Claire's getting collapsed on. He might need to teleport out here.
Yeah, he needs the comms and rest of his team, because as you can see, the TPs are coming up from the top side. There's no CC that can come out here from the Karthus. He's good as gone.
Nah.
Back to the safety of his base.
Yeah, I was going to say he can't kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I like Gwen in this game, because you can win the side lane, you can stop the Karthus ultimate from coming on through, and that's a big cooldown down 40 seconds before Dragon. Sorry, Baron.
TP for Requiem, and just a passive ability, really, more than anything, right? Just cancels out a global champion. So, interesting situation now as to how Babbitt looks to try and navigate this one. As we've already talked about, the fact is they've got a lot of Cloud Dragons, so that cooldown reduction surely going to be coming on through and really helping them within the next 20 seconds. So maybe not all doom and gloom if you have a Peace fan.
The hard part about this game now is the GA has been picked up by Kai'Sa.
Everybody's just jumped upon Going Grab. He's gone. Far too squishy. A 2-man onslaught. Only looking to try and do whatever he can in the backline. Looking to try and be a Z in his own damn fashion. He takes out one. Leono's gone. Support's removed. The Mr. down once again. And Claire's looking to try and find as many people as he can with those scissors. Edward Scissorhands. Is it a movie remake? What is happening right here? Because the arrow does not connect here from Kalrock. He falls on down. The cleanse goes out. It achieves absolutely nothing. And Violet with double buff, max level, and a GA2 will just run you down and find an ace that may just end this game.
Yeah, that's game there. The team fight out of Violet, out of Appy was just too good there. I wanted to have a bit of an emphasis on that fight on Appy. He just kited back. I mean, he has 0 kills because he knows his job. He's not playing for Lee Sin Q executes, you know, Dragon Rage executes. If you watch that team fight back, he just sat on Violet's head, kicked
Look at
people
the
off.
damage!
Oh, wow.
He did more than the entirety of Direwolves.
Wow.
That is why we hype up Violet.
I didn't realize he did that much. I thought Countess maybe helped.
Unbelievable. 10k damage in one team fight. Violet, the player to watch. He talks a big talk, but he can put out the big walk as well. And at the 37-minute mark, Peace will take down the Direwolves.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane. There's only one time I remember an 80 carry doing that much damage in a team fight, and that was King at Worlds. And he got drafted to Cloud9 after it. So Violet, if he keeps this up, puts up numbers like that, the sky's the limit for this Peace team.
That's a screenshot. Make it as wallpaper. Inspiration every single day. A fantastic victory, really, as a whole there for Peace. Sure, a few blips in the radar. I'm sure them having that Dragon stolen away, they're not going to be too phased about it because it didn't really feel like they had ever truly lost control of the game, despite Clear's best efforts to try and target the side lane to open up win conditions. When it did come to a full 5v5 and, you know, whilst you said, sure, 6k, 7k gold lead isn't that much with the time state we were in, they were just running riot.
And I do think that that Direwolves, as we bring Mac back in, Direwolves have done a very good job in putting up a very competitive performance, right? If you think about the Cupcake being someone that's been missing for a few games now, the value that he brings, the experience, the leadership, and just the skill. Yep. I mean, maybe Direwolves are up in the mix now, right? In terms of being one of the elites. So for me, they did no harms to themselves in that game. It's going to be disappointing, but you know, I think they put up an amicable performance.
I just want to point out, I'm so happy we finally got to see some Gwen. And as you mentioned, you know, some interesting mechanics there as well, dropping out the Mist, whatever the ability is called, just to counter the Global from Karthus. Thought that was quite interesting. And, you know, props to Claire for trying to keep Direwolves in the game with the split push, just drawing a lot of attention. And almost worked out until one unfortunate team fight where Violet was able just to completely mop him up. That was a huge amount of numbers, almost 5 figures all on his own in one team fight that won Peace the game. But again, there was many opportunities all across the game for Direwolves to get back in. And I feel like there was multiple times where Guncrab was definitely doing a very good job, but then there was also a couple of times where maybe there was miscommunication and he got caught out of position, and then it was just a 4v5 team fight that could have been won by Direwolves, maybe if it was a 5v5.
Yeah, I think there's just times where you could see his inexperience in the role, right? It's a traditional support. Like, if you think about Nautilus and then the champions he's used to playing, they're not even in the same realm. Yeah. You may as well just be loading up a new game. You're not playing League of Legends anymore. You're just playing, I don't know. I don't want to plug another game on broadcast. But, but anyway, yeah, you know what I mean. So I think he's done a good job. He's played extremely well, and I think again it's a performance Direwolves can be proud of and take a lot from. But Peace outfit looking scary.
Certainly is. Now, I guess in the context of things, again, shows that Peace are, you know, the pole position team. You know, 3-0 now, staying undefeated. Maybe they are setting themselves up for what Pentanet couldn't do last split, which is the undefeated groups. So I'm excited to see where they end up as we keep going forward. But again, even with the sub here for Direwolves, I was very impressed by what we saw. You know, they're looking like a very solid roster, very well-rounded. And as you mentioned, should be in contention for those top 4 positions.